You ready, Natalie?
As I'll ever be.
All right.
Ruin my childhood.
Welcome to Ruin My Childhood, the podcast where we decide if some things are better left in the past. I'm Kat.
I'm Mike.
And today we have a special guest host with us, my friend Natalie Raymond. She is a poet, an artist, all-around fun person, and what I like to call a Keanuisseur. She has all of the juice, all the facts on Keanu Reeves, which definitely comes in handy on this episode because what are we covering, Mike?
We're covering Speed.
Yeah.
Yay.
Speed.
I'm very
to be
excited.
honest, I remember nothing about this film except for a bus jumping on a freeway.
So this movie's weird for me because this is one that we did own on VHS, and I literally watched this movie every time it came on TV, like TBS, TNT, or whatever it came on. And I have it on DVD. I don't know if I've ever actually opened it because every time I think about watching it, I see it like in the break room at work or something. So I've never really had to watch it because I keep, catching the end of the movie. But, everybody who listens to the podcast know I'm a huge Keanu Reeves fan. I, too, am a Keanuisseur. And I remember most of this movie. Like, I can't tell you plot for, like, beat for beat, like, every single thing. But I can definitely get the highlights. Obviously, the bus jumping, the pop quiz hotshot, the villain's Dennis Hopper. We got Jeff Daniels in the movie. Young Sandy
Jeff
B
Daniels is in
movie.
this?
Jeff Daniels is in this. Yeah, he's Keanu Reeves' partner.
Oh, okay.
But I remember like how like all the major deaths happen. I remember like the beginning. Like I remember 90% of this movie, and I haven't watched this movie in at least a decade.
Damn.
If not,
Yeah,
longer.
I think the last time I watched this was on VHS.
I don't think I've watched it all the way through in probably 15 years, but I've seen pieces here and there. But I'm really excited. What about you, Natalie?
I've definitely watched this movie like several times in the last year.
In the last year? Wow.
So,
More than
that's how I am
one.
with Point Break.
Also Point Break. I have an annual rewatch of Point Break
Seriously?
because it is a perfect movie.
Annual?
Annual.
Those are rookie numbers. You got to pump those numbers up.
Listen, I also have an annual rewatch of the complete Buffy the Vampire Slayer series. I'm busy, okay? I have a lot of stuff to watch.
And you have like all of Keanu's films on heavy rotation, so you got to make time for each one.
Also true.
So I think it's safe to say that you remember this entire film.
I remember a lot of it. I can't quote this movie, but I've definitely watched it a lot of times.
Yeah, I don't know if this is
like,
a quote,
recently.
like a movie you quote, or really it's just pop quiz hotshot.
And Shoot the Hostage.
And I think that's it.
Shoot the hostage. All right. I mean, I feel kind of bad because I have absolutely nothing to base this on. Like, I have no childhood expectations for this film.
That's fine. It's gonna blow your mind.
You're gonna be so blown away.
All right. Should we get to some listener questions?
So I've got one from Shane Roma that just says they were in a bus.
Wow. Thanks, Shane.
Really?
Thank you for your invaluable input.
They're in a bus.
Joshua Visual says, I remember being terrified of riding in any bus cruising under 50 miles per hour.
That's stupid. You have to go over 50 miles per hour to activate the bomb, so it's like you should be more worried about going over 50 miles per hour.
All right, who should we insult next?
I've got Monica Nelson, 1987, that just says, ooh, Keanu.
Agree.
I mean, valid, I guess. Mist Nav says, Speed is one of my guilty pleasure movies. Oh god, is it a guilty pleasure movie? Is this like
No.
Point Break level?
Whoa. Hold on. No.
Slow your roll.
You are not going to be sitting here insulting
Point Break is one of my favorite movies. I watch it at least 2 or 3 times a year.
But it is a guilty pleasure movie.
No,
It
it's
is
not
the
a guilty pleasure.
perfect
I
movie.
genuinely love it.
It is a genuinely perfect movie.
It's so over the top, though.
No, it's
Balls to the wall from beginning to end.
It's young, dumb, and full of cum.
not.
Whoa! Yep. We're gonna jump or jerk off.
All right. We should just watch the movie now.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited. Really, really excited. I haven't been this excited for an episode in a long time.
Good.
Don't miss the bus for the #1 movie in America.
I should probably tell you that I have my driver's license revoked.
What for?
Speeding?
It's an edge-of-your-seat thrill ride. Come on! The theater needs seat belts for speed. A summer season masterpiece.
Very exciting, Jack.
All
The
right,
movie of
we are
the year.
back, having just watched Speed,
Keanu Reeves,
the cinematic
Speed,
gem.
rated R. Now playing in theaters everywhere.
Oh my lord, they lifted so much stuff from this film for every other 90s action film.
Every other one.
I kind of regret my life after watching this movie today.
Oh,
Because I do not remember this movie being this awesome. This movie rips from beginning to end.
Truth. Preach it.
I mean, like, it is very entertaining, but then there are some things that you see, luckily very few, that you're like, oh, I don't remember that looking like that. Like, the intro text.
Right.
So they pretty much put every single actor in this film's name up there at the beginning of the film, whilst, not tilting. What do you call that?
It was just
Running down the
No,
elevator
It was
shaft.
basically, and the typeface is like basically
word art.
Microsoft Word art.
Right, it is. But then, like, Mike was annoyed because that typeface didn't match the typeface on the DVD.
Or the
But
poster.
Natalie informed us that it matched
It
the typeface.
matched the VHS tape cover.
I had the
You're looking
VHS.
at some reissue shit.
Do you still have the VHS?
I mean, it's at my parents' house. I didn't take the VHS because I already had this. I bought this on DVD well before I even
I think
moved out.
Natalie still has hers.
My mom definitely has my VHS collection, which is largely Keanu Reeves movies.
How is that not in your
at her
shrine
house.
in the back of your closet?
I have them on DVD now.
Do you have, like, a Keanu made out of bubble gum, like Helga from Hey Arnold?
No. No. I'm holding out hope that Keanu will appear in my real life, and I don't want to freak him out.
You need to go to
Right.
So
New
I got
York.
to tone it down at home.
He's gonna help you publish a book.
He's the only one who would publish my shitty poetry.
I love your poetry. What is your Instagram handle, by the way?
Natalie_Raymond.
Yeah, she's got some bomb poetry. Makes you feel all
Depressing
all the
poetry.
things. No, I love
By
it.
bomb, she means incredibly depressing.
So, like, they've got this shot that's running down the elevator shaft, and you think, okay, we've seen like 10 names at this point. It's got to be getting to the beginning of the film, like something's gonna happen. But this elevator shaft just keeps going,
Yeah, it does.
and you're like, okay, this is like 100 floors. What the hell is going on?
Is
A
it
lot
supposed
of,
to
a
be
lot
the
of
bank
credits
tower?
to give.
I don't know.
I don't think they're actually in the bank tower, so it doesn't make sense. You're
Do they
right.
establish where they actually are?
No, they don't.
Well, the
it's just
bank-
in some
It's just
skyscraper.
downtown LA, yeah.
So it could be like the Bank
No.
of America building.
You see the bank tower when they're on the roof of the building, so obviously they're not
Got
in the
it.
bank tower.
Right.
You're right. So the bank tower is the tallest building in downtown LA, so
Designed by the same architect who designed City Hall.
oh,
Yeah.
that makes sense actually.
Yeah, both tall and phallic.
I sense an obsession.
So, Mike, do you want to do a summary of the film?
please do.
Absolutely. So
Concise
this movie,
summary.
simple plot. Movie starts off with Keanu Reeves playing Jack. He is a SWAT police officer dude. His partner is Harry, played by Jeff Daniels, who I have to say, they did Jeff Daniels dirty in this movie. He's not anywhere near the top billed in the movie. He's not on the poster. He's not on the DVD, like, title card. He's not on the back of the DVD. They don't name him anywhere on any of the, like, collateral for the movie. And Jeff Daniels
Was he a box office draw?
he's not necessarily a box office draw, but he's still a bigger name than, like, honestly, it's Keanu Reeves, Dennis Hopper, than him. At the time, he was bigger than Sandra Bullock, so he had done Arachnophobia. He had done a movie where he played, like, Ulysses S. Grant. He was pretty big in the 90s, so I think they did him dirty. But anyway,
Back to the summary.
they are called to kind of defuse a bomb on this elevator that Dennis Hopper's character, set off, and They end up, saving the day. They thwart Dennis Hopper. He does get away because they think he killed himself. And basically what ends up happening is Dennis Hopper decides that he wants revenge on Keanu Reeves' character Jack, and he ends up putting a bomb on a bus, and once the bus goes over 50 miles per hour, if it drops below 50 miles per hour, it blows up, and it's all about Jack saving the day and banging Sandra Bullock.
Got it. I mean, it sounds like a pretty solid premise for a film.
Quality.
I do really enjoy some of the ridiculous lingo that they throw in at the beginning of this film.
Don't get dead.
It's like they... don't get dead. They have all this cop jargon, which is probably actually not cop jargon. It's probably...
I don't think they consulted any police in the writing of this script.
I don't think so either. They do a lot of really dumb stuff in getting people out of this elevator situation.
Like what?
Disobeying orders.
They didn't disobey orders. They were told to...
Yes, No, they were not told to pull those people from the elevator. They were told to go check it out and wait. And what the fuck did Jack do? No, he did not do that. He's too cool for that. He used some kind of contraption from the roof of the building to hook onto the elevator and piss off Dennis Hopper.
It wasn't even rated for the correct weight for that elevator.
Did it work?
And all those bodies.
Did it work?
I mean, it
just
did,
barely.
but that woman almost lost her ankles.
It worked.
See, okay,
Jack's
so
a hero.
Here's the thing. The only reason he's bringing this up is because, like, the French press said, do not put in the dishwasher. And he was like, I've run it through the dishwasher 20 times and it didn't break. So then he was, like, surprised when it broke. But this is that logic, that same logic. It worked before. You know what? Next time someone...
He saved 13 people and got a medal
losing their
of valor.
ankles, Michael...
13 people. He got a medal.
Press in the dishwasher.
I deserve a
He
medal.
also had to shoot his friend.
He did have to shoot his friend.
So
he told him to.
That's true.
You know, I've got a citizen commendation award from a police department.
For what? What did you
For being
do?
a snitch.
Our neighbors were armed bank robbers. I should put that plaque up on the wall. I didn't get a medal though. I feel insulted.
You had
should've
that
gotten a
plaque in
medal.
our bathroom for like a year.
I did. I hung it by the toilet.
That seems like a good place for it.
It is. It's the only spot anyone was going to read it. So there's some pretty good like one-liners right off the bat in the beginning of this.
Oh, I love the one when like the police are all hanging out in the lobby trying to figure out what to do. And they're like, is there any way to keep the elevator from falling? And they're like, yeah, the basement.
That's not even the line, Mike.
That's exactly what it is. Any way we keep the elevator from falling.
It's to
yeah,
stop.
the basement.
It's to stop the elevator from falling.
Nope, I looked it up.
The
I googled the
basement.
line. It says any way we can keep the elevator from falling.
Oh, jeez.
Well, then that's grammatically incorrect.
I did appreciate
They also
that
say don't get dead. Grammar is not
Don't
an
get
issue
dead.
in this movie.
How did that hole end up in the bottom of the elevator?
The
Because
bomb on
bombs.
the brakes.
Oh, got it. So why was that bitch standing over that hole?
Because
She was standing in the elevator and then a bomb blew up. And then she fell through.
No. The bomb had already gone off because
was-
when the elevator was falling the second time, there was
She's
a
right.
gaping hole. And then it jerked to a stop.
And she fell through.
She fell through.
Because he like...
Because she was standing too close
Because she was
to the
standing
hole.
too... There's
She
a
was
gaping
standing
hole
in
in
the
the bottom of the
elevator and the
elevator.
second bomb blew
And
up.
certain death and a long fall.
I
You're
have
not
an
gonna
issue with
stand over
this
the gaping
elevator
hole.
bomb scene. And we're spending a lot of time on the beginning, but I'm okay with this.
Speaking of holes, there was like a gratuitous ass shot when they're rescuing everyone from the elevator. They very easily could have cut away, but no, they had to get that shot of that woman's thong.
Listen, she had a nice
I didn't
ass,
even
so.
catch that.
She did
I
have a
missed
nice ass.
I missed some butt.
Seriously?
I missed it.
There was a good looking butt being rescued from the
Damn.
elevator.
I
Had
was
some
we had
virginal white
snacks for the
underwear.
movie. I
Virginal
was
white
distracted by the
underwear.
snacks.
It takes a full 26 minutes for this film to actually show us the bus.
Well,
There's a
actually
lot
at
of
26
elevator
minutes
action.
they blow up a different bus. It's not for like 30 minutes that we actually see the real bus.
True. Yeah.
Because what ends up happening is what really gets the story going is they get a medal for saving the day, and the next day Jack is at like a diner, and as bus driver, like one of his friends is a bus driver, and he's like they're kind of like making fun of each other, having a good old time. Boys will be boys, and then he just looks back and he's like waving to his friend getting onto the bus, and then the bus just blows up. and he goes running after it, and he's just like, ha, ha. He makes like these really ridiculous
he was just
moaning
talking
sounds.
to his friend, the bus driver. He's checking to see if he can pull his flaming body out of it, and he realizes that he's too toasty. You would make some sad noises too.
Listen,
Probably not those sounds.
Yeah, but not like the little brother and Christmas Story noises.
Oh.
Well, and then I really actually liked the next shot. So as that bus blew up and it's like in flames, there's a payphone across the street that rings, and it ends up being Dennis Hopper, the bad guy. And you see the payphone, and you can see like the reflection of the bus on fire. And I thought it was a really cool shot. And there was this really cool
magic.
There was this really cool thing where like the music is starting to build up, and the music of this movie is like awesome. It's like dun 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 dun. It's really cool. But right as the music, like, it has like a slower version of like the theme, and the music's like dun dun dun, and then right as he picks up the phone, it's like dum. And it was really intense.
It is intense.
The musical timing throughout the movie is really, really excellent.
Who did the score for this?
This movie rips.
Did we look it up? We need to figure out who did the score.
I'm gonna
for
look
this.
it up right now.
It's John Williams.
So hang on, shut up. So this guy, he had been planning this elevator thing for what?
2 years.
For 2 years, right?
Yep.
So that goes wrong.
Mark
Overnight,
Manchina.
you're telling me how much time has passed since the
I
elevator
think
thing
it's
went
at
wrong?
least a couple of weeks.
It has to be at least a couple weeks. It doesn't just turn around and like make this thing happen.
Well, yeah, I mean, however long after he got his medal, it was the day after he got his medal. Because he was, like, hungover. He was going to the coffee shop to get coffee.
When the police gave me my award,
Oh.
that was, like, 2 months after the thing, I think.
Yeah, it's usually not fast.
It's not fast. They're cops.
So you guys want to know what else this guy did the music for?
What?
There's some really impressive shit.
He did music for Twister, Bad Boys, Tarzan, Moana, Red.
But did he do the music for Bad Boys 2?
August Rush.
No.
Brother Bear.
Bear.
Speed 2.
Well, there you go.
The Jetsons movie.
I love the Jetsons.
Nice.
Yeah, this guy's done
A lot.
Planes.
Apollo
He's done
Blue.
a lot of music for movies.
I'm frankly upset that you didn't mention that he did the music for Con Air.
I haven't seen that. He did it for Training Day.
Okay, so this guy's legit. What's his name?
His name is Mark
doesn't matter.
Mancina.
Oh, well, duh. Okay, that makes sense now.
Yeah, this guy's rad.
So many.
This, it's a little cheesy in this movie, but it's fun.
No, it's not.
It's not cheesy. It
I think
supports
the music
plot.
was great. I got pumped watching this movie.
The music is really great. I feel like this would be a really good soundtrack to listen to at the gym.
Oh,
Yeah,
Right?
I could see that.
I wonder
Getting
if
on the
I can
treadmill
find it
and
on
just
Apple Music.
Right?
running
and you're like,
faster.
You're running up the stairs to save these bitches in the elevator.
Dun, 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 dun.
I mean, I've been listening to Rihanna at the gym, so I think I gotta
Maybe.
switch it up now. I'm having a hard time keeping my train of thought.
So this movie is insane. So like there's a lot of things right at the beginning of the movie that you kind of mentioned that like other action movies stole, and Natalie actually pointed it out first. Like when he's like rigging the elevator to be held up by this like weird crane thing, he's like being suspended and like just goes down the elevator shaft on a wire, and it reminded us of Mission Impossible. And then we find out this movie came out a full 2 years before Mission Impossible. And then there's a point where he's sitting on the elevator and the bad guy starts the elevator to try to get Keanu Reeves smushed by the elevator, which also happened in Mission Impossible. And then there's later on, there's a scene where they end up derailing like a subway, which is just like one of the Die Hard movies. So like a lot of action movies like stole some pretty major scenes from this movie. It's pretty incredible.
So I guess you could say those iconic films are just derivative of Speed.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Keanu's an icon. Everybody wants to be Keanu.
Who doesn't want to be immortal? So So the movie's like really fast paced from this point on. Once you
get to the bus,
it is called Speed. So he basically carjacks this guy on the freeway, which is interesting. But it is odd that they expect a bus to get up to 50 miles per hour in rush hour traffic in LA.
That's my biggest complaint about this movie.
So, okay, Mike had to do some work on his car, and in order to reset the computer to complete the work, he had to get the car up to 60 miles per hour for what, like 2 miles or something?
For several miles. I had to get like something like 10 to 15 miles over 60 miles per hour, and it took me months before was able to do that. I ended up having to go out at like 1 a.m. to be able to have enough like freeway speed to get my
It took him like 4 months to accomplish this, and it was only 60 miles per hour. Right. And this is 2019,
and not a giant bus.
When we like should have slightly better roads, but I don't think we do.
No,
I think everything that has been under construction since this film is still under construction in LA.
Yes.
So he's carjacked this guy after, trying to get onto the bus on foot on the freeway when it was going a bit slower. He carjacks this guy.
Well, before
all
he
the
even
people
does
on the
that,
bus
like,
are.
Before he even does that, he pulls up to the car in the bus in his own car, gets out of his Jeep, and starts like banging on the window of the bus because it's like stuck in traffic. And he like cracks the window, which was like not meant to happen, but they ended up keeping that take in. And the bus driver won't let him on, and Sandra Bullock's like, "Don't let him on! I'm gonna be late for work." And then he carjacks that guy, and then while they're trying to chase the bus, some guy's like, "Man, he really has a hard-on for this bus."
That's how you know speed changed the world, because if that happened now, I think everybody would think there's a bomb on this bus and we can't go slower than 50 miles an hour.
It's true. Instantly, we know it. And, I don't even remember anything about this film except for the bus jumping and the speed thing. So, clearly, we've all been indoctrinated.
This movie actually saved lives.
What?
Yeah. No joke. I'm not kidding. So, there was this kid who ended up saving his entire classmates because their bus driver had a heart attack, and he just jumped into action, jumped on the bus driver's lap, and steered the bus and pulled over. And everyone's like, "How did you have the state of mind to do that?" And he's like, "I saw it in that bus movie." And he ended up getting an award and everything because he saved a bunch of kids' lives by being quick to action and stopping a bus. And it was because of this movie.
That award presented to him by Vacaville PD? Does he have a plaque, Michael?
Yes, he did get a plaque.
Is it
but not
hanging
from Vacaville.
in his bathroom?
I think he got it from a more important city, and he saved lives.
You're so rude.
Why didn't Keanu get a fucking award for that?
He should have.
He's the reason you know how to do it.
He should have. I'm sure Keanu has been recognized somewhere a few hundred years ago. He has to lay low these days, but he's failing. So he's trying to explain at speed what is going on with this bus to the bus driver. There's no way they would be able to understand each other.
Well, that's why he starts having the guy write on paper.
On an LA freeway.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a mess
But that's why he has the guy who he carjacked start writing in a notebook, "bomb on bus," and then the paper hits the windshield.
With another very dramatic turn of musical phrase.
Right, so he decides that he needs to be on this bus if he's going to do anything. He's already carjacked this poor dude, who, by the way, is black. And as soon as the cop pulls out his badge and his gun, he's like, "Hey, this is my car. I own this car."
Right.
Just making sure he knows. Because that's a thing you have to do.
Still.
Yeah, pretty ridiculous that has not changed in how many years?
Since
this came out in 94?
15 years, or 25 years.
Yeah, that's bad.
Holy
that's
crap,
really
this movie's 25 years old.
Ugh.
And Keanu looks exactly the same.
So he's got this poor guy carjacked, and he's he doesn't even just carjack the guy. He tells him to move over because he doesn't want to get out of the car. So he's taken him on this ride. He's in the passenger seat with him. He decides he needs to board this bus. He's in a convertible. But what does he do? He's like, I gotta take off this door. So he throws open the door. He lets the bus ram it. The bus that has to maintain speed. He lets this bus ram the door, break it off, then run over it. At no point is he like, we might want to make sure these tires make it for a while.
No.
This is what I will say about that. I agree that that's pretty dumb because they're in a convertible, but also it is clear from the beginning of the movie that Jeff Daniels' character is the brains.
Well, Dennis Hopper says that throughout the movie,
right.
that he's the brain
He
of
says
the
it throughout the
operations.
movie, and it is super clear by the structure, like how they're set up opposite each other, that Jack is the brawn.
Can we just agree that everyone would have been better off if Jeff Daniels had been the one on the bus? Like, nobody would have gotten shot.
Jeff
He would have
Daniels
known
got
how to
cocky.
He would have been a little bit cooler about it.
No,
and
not at all.
He would have had his badge out
I
and
don't
in his
think he
hand
has the
and
badass
just slammed it
skills.
on the door and been like, "Yo, open the
not
bus
at
door."
all.
A bus driver would have been
No,
like, "Oh,
Katrina,
He
hey."
doesn't have the badass skills.
No,
Jack
you're
is the
100%
badass.
mistaken because he didn't even want to go and take care of that bomb on the elevator. Keanu
That's
Reeves'
right.
character had to volunteer him to do it. And then he didn't, he kind of froze. He didn't know what to do. So Keanu Reeves was the one who jumped on the elevator, figured out the plan. He froze. In fact, he got an entire group of people killed because he got cocky and he thought he understood the Dennis Hopper's character, went to the guy's house and got an entire SWAT team killed in the explosion because he underestimated him. Jack never underestimated him. He understands people way more. So Jeff Daniels' character understands bombs, but he doesn't understand people. He doesn't understand bravery. So you need to take it back right now.
Okay, but he didn't think on his feet. So
He thought on his feet all kinds. He improvised like crazy.
It goes wrong. The bus driver gets shot because some jerk, obviously,
But that wasn't
who's
his
feeling
fault. That was
guilty
one of the
about his
citizens.
crimes. He didn't defuse that situation fast
He
enough.
had it diffused. You are
So the bus
crazy.
driver gets shot. They're trying to negotiate with the terrorist bomber dude. And they're like, look, this guy's losing blood. He doesn't have much time. And the guy is like standing firm. He's like, no one can leave the bus. They know exactly where this bus is. You can just put someone else on the bus. Like drop in a surgeon.
Like drop a surgeon onto the bus?
Drop in a couple of trauma surgeons. You might need a nurse or two. Handle the situation.
Who would volunteer to do that?
But then he
lots
just gets more
of hot
hostages.
shots. Lots of hot shots.
No.
Everyone would have been watching this unfolding on the news. There would have been surgeons who were like, I heard someone was shot. Can I help?
I don't
Not
know
to
about
get on a
that.
bus traveling at 50 miles per hour. They went to medical
With a
school
bomb on it.
so that way they don't have to do this kind of stuff.
Get a military doctor then.
Maybe.
What are they doing? Sitting around in San Diego twiddling their thumbs?
I want to circle back to something you said, though, because you said that Keanu Reeves didn't think on his feet and didn't defuse that situation, and I disagree. Because he had the guy starting to put his gun down. He's like, hey, look, we're just two cool dudes. I'm not even a cop right now. I don't care what you did. I'm putting my gun away. And the guy started to calm down, and it was the construction worker guy that tackled the guy with the gun, and that's what caused him to get shot. But throughout the movie, he was improvised. He actually convinced Dennis Hopper to let them get the driver off the bus. He convinced Dennis Hopper to let him get off the bus so that way he could talk with his bosses to help them get the money, when in reality he was trying to find a way to get under the bus. So Keanu Reeves actually was able to manipulate Dennis Hopper quite a bit. He was able to, once they got everybody off the bus later on, and we'll get to that.
But you know why he was able to do that? Because thematically, their characters are the same.
Right.
So Hopper's character and Reeves's character are like the same guy, and that's why they're foils.
the opposite sides of a coin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
so I don't know if that's necessarily think on your feet intelligence,
he's also
or if
able
it's
to,
that recognizing.
He's able to handle that whole bus. Like, he gets everybody to like buy in and listen to him. He gets Annie to like completely like listen to him. He gets all the other cops, like his boss is like letting him control the situation. He's the one who figures out that they're being watched through a camera. He's the one that is able to figure out that because of the Wildcat statement, he's the one that's able to figure out how to get off the bus after they accidentally broke the bridge that they were using to get between the two vehicles. He was going to get killed, and he was able to get back on. He thought on his feet like crazy. He was the one who figured out that the guy already got the money. It's a different
kind of smarts, though. It's a different kind of smarts. Like, Daniels' character is like a book smart kind of dude.
Right, and that got him killed.
I think his gung-ho-ness to, like, save his friend is what got him killed. Not necessarily like a lack of experience in the field.
Their romance made them lose control, and like they lost control of the situations because of that.
Classic bromance.
No, but Jeff Daniels wanted to
like,
get the guy. He didn't need to be the one who went and caught him. He should have been still staying where he was and talking Keanu Reeves through, but he got cocky. He thought he understood the guy, and he didn't. And the whole movie, every time there would be something going on, they're like, no, that's not him. He's never late. He did that. Keanu Reeves is also the one who figured out that Dennis Hopper was in the building at the beginning of the movie. Jeff Daniels was like, no, he would have blown that up remotely. He goes, no, he'd want to be nearby. He's probably in the freight elevator. He was the one who figured out that, you know, he was going after him. He was the one who figured out about the camera. He was the one who realized that he didn't know that the bus had already blown up. He was the one who figured out that the reason he picked that garbage can is he had the garbage can ready to blow up so he can get the money from the subway. Keanu Reeves is the only one who understood that character. He was the only one who was able to...
Because they're the same. That's
he's not the same because he's not that smart. He's able to figure out what people are thinking. He's a people person. He was able to get everyone on that bus to like him.
He has no idea what Sandra Bullock is thinking through this entire movie.
What was that?
He has no idea what Sandra Bullock is thinking through this entire movie.
Yeah, he was able to get her to calm down.
She's pretty calm the whole damn time. She's pretty calm for somebody in that situation.
I was a little disappointed in her character, honestly.
She's very one-dimensional.
Yeah, there was like zero character development for her.
Yeah, that's totally true.
In an action movie.
Yeah, it was bad. Like I remember her being a bigger part of this film than she actually was. She wasn't
really anything in the 90s. She was almost
on par with like everyone else on that bus.
This is one of the first films that she did that was like a fame-making engine.
Got it. Yeah.
This is definitely really early in her career.
I think it's just interesting how much of the advertising she made it into.
And I think that a lot of that happened later.
But I also think that's back in the day, every movie had to have that love interest, and that's kind of a thing that we're
interrupted Natalie.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, you're right. They do have to have the love interest, and that's still true now. I mean, they work random love interests into almost every action movie.
Right.
So it's not that it's unexpected. It's just a little bit... it's a little boring, and there's a little more that she could do. I mean... The idea is obviously to give Jack a reason to really care about the people in the bus because he's a little bit sociopathic. I mean, he's a little bit dedicated to... Yes, he's super dedicated to his job, and that's great.
He totally loses it when his buddy gets killed. And it's like, you know, you've been trained to handle this situation.
Of sociopathic tendencies. He cares about people. He got motivated.
Yeah, but then he stops caring about everyone else on the bus.
No, yeah,
he totally gives up at that point. He's like, we're all gonna die.
He didn't say that.
He did.
He does. That's a line in the movie.
No.
He says, we're gonna die.
He leans over Sandra Bullock and, like, whispers in her ear, we're all gonna die. So once again,
that shows that he's not sociopathic.
First of all, I didn't say that he was all the way sociopathic. But he does have, like, a disconnect from the people that he saves throughout the movie. And that's, like... I mean, that makes sense. It seems like it would be required for that kind of job. You can't, like, be emotionally invested in every person you try to save because some of them are going to die.
Okay, so maybe he's not sociopathic, but whoever was in charge of, like, informing public works or anyone at the airport or anyone in the metro that any of these things were happening did not do their job.
Did not tell anyone there's a runaway bus.
Right, so the bus ends up at the airport because he is being smart. He knows that it's controlled airspace. You can't have choppers just flying over the airport. So he takes the bus to the airport. He takes the bus to the airport so that they can blow up a plane, basically.
Thinking on his feet.
Production value. You'd think, because everyone in the city of Los Angeles is watching this on TV, that at some point they would have cleared the runway. They would have been like, we're going to ground all flights out of LAX.
Well, no, they weren't actually
for a hot minute.
They weren't on the tarmac for very long.
I mean, so they were going towards it. They had to know they were going towards it. As soon as that happened, like,
and as soon as he gets on it, you stop.
This was pre 9/11, okay?
Everything was just all willy-nilly.
Well, look, so the thing is, you got to realize, and Natalie pointed this out while we were watching the movie, but it hasn't really come up in the podcast so far, is this movie almost takes place in real time once they get to the bus. So when he finds out about the bus, the clock says 8, or his watch says 8:05, and it says you have until 11 a.m. to get me the money. So they go through the initial chases, then they go to the freeway that's under construction, and they're on that for quite a while until they run out of freeway, and then they get onto the tarmac, and they're only circling for something like a half an hour before they realize they're running out of gas, and they say we only have 10 minutes until we run out of gas.
Can we talk about that bus jumping the gap on the freeway?
That's
ridiculous.
One of my favorite part. It's really insane.
It's bad. Like, you can see how the front of the bus jacks up before it launches over, but it's going so slow that like
the bus maxed out at 70 miles per hour.
Yeah, it's bad.
And that thing is heavy. This is not a newfangled bus. This is
maybe
like a bus made out of iron.
Is they had half the people in the back of the bus, half the people in the front of the bus, and they kind of jumped and leaned to make it like a skateboard, like an ollie.
They seesawed the bus.
That's definitely what they did.
Yeah. I don't think it would have gone down that way. And you know what's interesting? Because, like, the Northridge quake was pretty fresh in people's minds, and, like, we saw what happens when you drive a car off the edge of a downed freeway.
Everybody dies.
Right. Well, the thing that didn't make sense about that, and so initially that wasn't in the script. The director of the movie actually saw that segment of the freeway and thought, oh, this would be really cool, and then they wrote it into the movie. But the thing is, when they find out about the gap in the freeway, they know about it 3.5 miles ahead of time. There were no exits on that freeway for 3.5 miles.
Right?
There's no part of the freeway in Los Angeles that you go 3.5 miles without an exit.
Or there's no part where they could, like, find a break in the median and just do, like, a wide U-turn?
Well,
right?
no, there wasn't enough time to do that, because they would slow down to below 50 miles an hour to do that. But there's no way that there wasn't an exit where they could go loop back around.
Yeah, it's a little silly.
Yeah, it's a little bit. I mean, and also, how do you not know that the freeway is unfinished?
Well, and I feel like they would have been able to, with how much time had elapsed at this point, they would have been able to start clearing people off the freeways and sort of, like, make a racetrack of freeways.
That's what I would have done.
Make a circuit, you know, that you've shut down. There would still be some jackass who cruises through, because, like, it happens all the time on film sets. We've shut down the entire intersection. They're like, I gotta get my minivan through.
Right.
People are crazy.
Well,
but that would have worked a lot better.
Well, and this is my point, saying that Jack is once again smarter than everybody else, even though he's not getting credit for it. They have a whole team of other people in helicopters, in buses. They've got, like, the police captain saying, like, hey, we're going to find a place for you to drive. And he just sees an exit sign that says LAX. And he's the one that comes up with the tarmac idea. Like, Jack is tight, and I don't care what you guys say.
I love Jack. I love him very much, but other people's incompetence is not an indicator of his intelligence.
So LAX would have been a great racetrack for this bus.
They should have been hidden there from the beginning. That's
my point.
Should have. But okay, so as soon as they're approaching LAX, they should have just cleared all the planes and let them go in a little circle until they sorted it out.
But they were only there for like 15 minutes.
There are no choppers watching them, so
that's a chunk of time, my dude.
Yeah, but this is 1990. They don't have the internet. Not everybody has cell phones. They're actively on the phone.
They have
with
CB
the
radios.
The airport, though, we're talking about
air traffic control.
Possible, but still, like, it would take logistically more than 10 to 15 minutes to clear the air. Like, it's very possible that airplane that got blown up is they were trying to get it out of the way, and they didn't expect the bus to go there because the bus wasn't originally supposed to be going over there. What ended up happening is they tied off the bus so they can just jump off. That plane, the bus was never supposed to be in that area.
Hang on, I think there's a little bit of misplaced blame here. Why didn't they just aim it somewhere else?
They were, but the rope came untied.
Yeah, because they had Sandra Bullock, a woman who has no experience with really anything in this movie, tie a knot that's supposed to hold.
So there
a
we
bus.
have it. Women can't tie knots. You guys said it, not me.
Sandra Bullock can't tie knots.
So I was, my mind completely blanked on how they get from there to the metro.
This is what happens.
So, go ahead. Yeah.
Natalie's going to do the summary.
This is what happens. They escape the bus on the hatch on the bottom of the bus.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of rising music and some making out. Then they agree to give Hopper the money because, as Jack points out, he doesn't know that the bus has exploded.
Because he's the smartest person in the movie.
because he is the most closely related to his foil, which is Dennis Hopper's character.
But once again, he's the only one who thought of it.
Stop talking.
Because they're foils. They're the opposites of each other. They're on the same wavelength. At any rate. So Hopper wants the money in this public trash bin in Pershing Square, which is under construction in the film and under construction currently right now in 2019. And the whole SWAT team goes, it's all drama, and they drop the money into the thing, and oh my God, what's happening? They're all watching the trash can and nothing happens, and then Jack is like, no, he's not going to be late.
Turn on the tracker.
They turn on the tracker and the bag of money is moving. So Jack sprints across Los Angeles traffic.
Again.
Kicks over the garbage can and discovers that there is a hole in the ground leading to the underground tunnels.
Smartest man in the movie.
I got
and
that
he
part.
drops down in the hole.
And does not recognize
the woman he was making out with 15 minutes earlier. And she has a bomb strapped to her chest, and she is carrying the money to Hopper. And that's how they end up in the subway, Pershing Square, Red Line.
Got it.
Thank you. Can we go back 10 minutes
hang on.
really quickly?
All right. Yeah, let's go back.
So there's a point where just before they start getting everybody off the bus, and he realizes that, there's a camera on the bus and they need to loop it. Well, he gets off the bus and ends up getting on this I don't know what it's really called, but some sort of cart that goes under the bus, right?
Right.
And this is going to be the one time I agree with you that he did something stupid. So he gets under
the gas tank.
He punctures the gas tank because the line that he's on snaps and he's about to get pulled under the wheel. So he jumps off his little cart, uses a screwdriver to hold on to the bottom of the bus, and he hits the gas tank. The entire movie he's chewing gum, and we know from The Rocketeer that you can plug any kind of fuel tank with gum.
You can. Movie facts.
Why did he not use his gum to puncture, fill that hole?
I don't know. If it's good enough for The Rocketeer, it's good enough for Keanu.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe it's nicotine gum, and he's just so stressed out he couldn't have it.
1994. They didn't have nicotine gum back then.
They definitely had nicotine gum.
I think they had nicotine
They must
gum.
have had nicotine gum.
I feel like that came out later in the 90s.
I'm Googling it.
Anyway, so they're on the red line, and someone ends up shooting the train driver. At no point until 10 minutes later are they at all concerned about the fact that they are on an unmanned train that is heading who knows where. Do they not realize the trains don't just automatically go? People actually drive them. You kind of need the driver. You can at least need a live body in there. So of course they save the day. They get out of that sticky situation. They kind of look at each other, and then over the radio they realize, oh no, the track isn't finished.
And this is my problem with the bus jumping the freeway bit earlier, is that it's essentially the exact same thing that happens with the train in the end of the movie.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Also, I love that the metro has just perpetually been under construction, although something goes to Santa Monica now. Is it the same thing?
It's the Expo line. It's not the red line.
It's not
blue.
even connected. Well,
it's connected at Union Station.
There you go. At least it goes to Santa Monica now. So they didn't even need to take that bus from Santa Monica in the first place. If they had just fixed the metro from the beginning, none of this would have happened.
No,
he still would have put the bomb on that bus. Just the characters she elected to take the metro instead of the bus wouldn't have been on there, but somebody would still take the bus.
I want to pause to say that nicotine gum was invented in the 1970s.
Yeah, 1967. Yeah, I was looking at it too.
Wow. So they have this moment of horrible realization that she is handcuffed to this pole inside the metro car.
Kinky.
And it's gonna crash. And he doesn't have the key. You break a bitch's thumb, all right?
Whoa,
you break her
why
thumbs.
are you throwing out that B word? We don't swear on this podcast.
Those poles, you know how they put those poles in?
Phillips
they put those poles in with a little bracket at the top and a little bracket at the bottom, and they screw in with a screwdriver. If he hadn't been an idiot and wasted his screwdriver in that gas tank, he would have been able to solve that situation.
He would have died if he didn't do that.
could have done something
Listen,
else.
I love Jack. I appreciate him. He could have sacrificed himself for the greater good.
The greater good.
But then they wouldn't have got. He figured out the camera thing after that. Nobody would have survived if he didn't do that.
Well, he wouldn't know. He didn't know that at the time that he chose to.
He
puncture the
didn't,
gas
but
tank.
then he figured it out.
But I like that his solution was to make the car go faster so that it would derail on the turn. Like,
The
as
same
if
as the
train
bus.
derailments
Yeah.
don't kill hundreds of people every year. No big deal.
I mean, speeding up the thing to jump the tracks or jump the gap on the freeway is like Jack's default.
So, like, the solution was to derail the train because there was a curve coming up, but somehow we get to the end of it, and instead of a curve stopping the train, there's like a ramp that takes the train all the way out to the surface.
To Hollywood and Highland.
Launches it out at Hollywood and Highland, and it skids to a stop, and some guy driving, like, his tourist van is like, oh man, I can't believe they hit my van. Unbelievable. Like, they have all these little bits of dialogue in this film from, like, basically background characters
The background
that I find are
characters' dialogue
hilarious.
is
We,
really
uh,
incredible in this movie.
So the movie
It's
ends
really good.
like that's literally like right after they like pop out of the subway. It just ends like Jack
They
says, "I
literally
have to
just
warn
pop
you."
out of the ground like mole people. It's so
Right.
weird.
They're
It's like the
making
end of
out
Incredibles.
also. Yeah.
The Incredibles stole from this movie.
Oh, I'm so disappointed.
But yeah, Jack.
Everything did. 24 real time.
Right. so
Everything.
Jack says, "I have to warn you. I've heard relationships based on intense experiences never work out." And Annie says, "Okay, we'll have to base it on sex then." And then Jack says, "Whatever you say, ma'am." And then it's like roll credits.
Yeah, you
Thing
get
is,
yours, girl.
That's like
I like
one
that she's
of-
being realistic, though. I love that they recognize that this love story is completely unnecessary and inconsequential, and she's like, no, I'm just horny right now.
Well, that's a callback to
Like,
something
it's
she said
fine.
at the beginning of the movie. Or, like, right when they get off the bus, she says, "You're not going to get mushy on me, are you?" And he says, "Yeah, I might." And she goes, and then she says, "Relationships based off intense experiences never work out." So it's a callback to that scene. But, some of the other, we didn't even touch on Natalie's favorite part of the entire movie.
What?
My absolute favorite part is when Jack is looking underneath the bus to see the bomb.
Mhm.
And he has a relay on the phone, which, by the way, these cell phones are the size of bricks. He has a relay with a passenger to talk to
Yeah,
his
it's Cameron
boss.
from Ferris Bueller.
Right.
Yes. And he's looking and relaying information, and the guy is saying everything, and then he sees how bad the bomb is, and he says, "F me." And the guy says, "Oh darn."
Oh, darn.
It's my favorite. I think that's like my favorite thing in any action movie.
No, that was
Was this
pretty
rated
funny.
R?
Yes, it said the
I
F
think
word
it's-
like 20 times in the movie.
Did
Yeah,
it?
he says it a
Oh,
lot.
okay.
And it has a beheading in the end of the movie.
It does. No, they
does.
show it. They straight up
They
show it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty gnarly.
I mean,
Yep.
that's a contender for favorite part too. That I'm
I'm
Hopper is
taller.
like,
It
I'm
is
smarter than you,
satisfying,
and Keanu
Because
is
Dennis
like,
Hopper's acting was
I'm
not
taller.
good in this film.
Dennis Hopper's never been a good actor, though.
This was a great character. It could have been amazing, and he was not good. He was bad.
It would have been
I
amazing
like
if
him.
it was Jeremy Iron.
Oh, it would have been. I love Jeremy Irons.
I wouldn't believe that Jeremy Irons was just after money, though.
Mm.
Every time
What are you
he's a
ta-
bad guy.
That's exactly what he did in Die Hard with a Vengeance. What are you talking
But is
about?
it really about the money? I think it's
Yes,
about
that's
the
exactly
power.
what it was.
No, it's about the power.
It's the
No,
There's
it
power.
always
wasn't. It
something
was
else
strictly about
happening
the
with
money.
Jeremy Irons.
He set
It's
it up
always
like it
about
was
the power.
No, he set it up like it was revenge for his brother, but it was really just to rob the bank. It was the same thing. That was the whole point with the brothers in the Die Hard, the two of the three Die Hard movies, is they set up this whole thing to make it look like it's about power, so people would like be hoodwinked and not realize what they were really just going after money. Like, it was really that simple, that Simon was going after money.
Anyway, yeah, Dennis Hopper sucked.
I liked him.
He was not good.
He was ridiculous. There's a level of camp in this movie, and I really like it.
Yeah.
This movie's
I
rad.
miss some camp.
They got to lean into it, and they did,
It's a good movie.
which I think
They
is
literally
It's a
leaned
really
into
good
it when the
movie.
bus was gonna flip.
All
Yep,
right.
they stopped that bus from flipping.
So, Mike, did this ruin your childhood?
It ruined my adulthood because I should have had this on a more constant rotation. I have not watched this movie nearly enough in my lifetime.
And Natalie's just over here being all validated.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
I am going... This is going to be on my rotation. So the movies that I feel like I have to watch every year, at least
Twister.
once.
I love
Back
Twister.
to the Future, Point Break, Dread, and I think this is going to have to get put on here. And
I'll
then, of
give
course,
you
all
Point
this...
Break. I think we should have a yearly trio. Point Break, Twister, and Speed.
I could go without Speed.
And
Or
then
not
Die
Speed. I
Hard
could
is
go
a
without
Christmas
Twister.
movie.
Yeah, I watched Die Hard.
I
every
love
Christmas too.
Twister. You shut
It's
your
all right.
mouth.
It's good. I could go. I don't think it's an
We
every
have
year movie
cows. All right. So, what are we covering next time?
So today, unfortunately, we got some unfortunate news that Luke Perry passed away.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, he
sad.
suffered from a stroke on Friday or
Unfortunately.
Saturday. And he unfortunately didn't make it.
Unfortunately. You said unfortunately like 10 times, Mike.
It is unfortunate.
It is unfortunate.
What am I
Please
supposed
find
to say?
another adjective. Sadly.
Grab the thesaurus.
Let's see.
Tragically.
Tragically.
Yeah, he was young. It is tragic.
He was
He was only
52?
52.
That's very sad.
Yeah, he's really young.
That is
Yeah,
really
it's
sad.
very sad. And, he was kind of having to come back
90210
with...
was on our list to cover eventually. So, in his honor, we will be covering Beverly Hills 90210.
Yep.
All right. Natalie, where can our listeners find you?
On the internet. My Instagram is at Natalie_Raymond. My Twitter is at Natalie Raymond no underscore because some bitch on Instagram took my handle. And I also have a website full of depressing poetry.
No, it's great. You've got your
NatalieRaymond.com.
weird short films.
I'll make
You've
sure
got-
to put links on...
You just had a short film drop the other day.
I did,
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
It's also depressing. So there's a theme.
It's great. Mike, where can we find you?
You can just check out everything that's MDXpods related at MDXpods.com, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at MDXpods. We recently kind of updated the Instagram. We're doing a lot more daily stuff, so check us out there. We also, I kind of set up a super link in the Instagram profile where it actually has a breakdown of Remake Rewind and Ruin My Childhood with links to every platform that we're on. So check out Instagram. That's actually the easiest place to get all of our updates.
And I'm all over the internet at Katrinaosity. Check out my YouTube channel, and we will, I guess, be back with some Beverly Hills 90210. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Nothing from Natalie.
I don't thank you.
She's too depressed.